Welcome to the Laptop Lifestyle Dad Show. I'm your host, Jeff Ross, the caffeinated kangaroo from Down Under, here to help you navigate the wild world of social selling and AI mastery. Whether you're a frustrated affiliate marketer, an inspiring coach, or a seasoned network marketing pro, you're in the right place. And each week we'll be deep diving with key experts from the online business world, sharing their tips and tricks and stories to help you elevate your game. Plus, I'll be serving up some quick coaching episodes packed with actionable insights to keep you ahead of the curve. So grab your favorite cuppa, sit back, and let's hop into another episode. Welcome to the journey of mastering the art of social selling and AI while balancing life as a laptop lifestyle legend. Let's get started and enjoy the show. Well, hey, Ray, thank you very much for jumping on and putting your hand up to say yes for this awesome space. As I mentioned just there in our introduction, so, put together this podcast to make sure that, there's people have got value in this social selling and AI space. So let's just dive straight in, mate. I understand that your time's precious. So as it is for all of us, I suppose I just love to always unpack people's hero's journey. Where they started with this whole process and where you are today. So just quickly, in the quickest time possible, what is the hero's journey story for Raymond?
Yeah, I'll give a quick recap and I'll focus more since I've been in the digital space. But my background prior to that very quickly was 20 years in corporate America in a very obscure niche, industrial laundry. I was a route sales and service rep, kind of a hybrid rep. We did service and sales based. Did that for 20 years and really got in that trap, right? Making $50K a year, comfortable, owning a house, kids, and like everything was so tight. And it was like, you're stuck in there. I can't leave because I can't risk not missing my mortgage payment. So long story short, I started to have some degenerative back problems that a doctor told me if I kept doing that in the next few years, I'd be walking like a hunchback. And that's a time where you're like, you can't put a price on your back. I can't go buy a new one, right? So, and two of my three kids had grown up and moved out. So I had a little more freedom to take a chance. Took about a year and a half while I was still doing that gig to study digital marketing, reading books, taking courses, hired my first business coach before I ever monetized, just set the foundations. And then I took a gamble on myself. Still remember the date, November 15th, 2019. I got into digital marketing. I started working for a big digital consultancy and brand that most people would know in the space. I'm probably not going to name them for a few reasons, but they were doing about 20 million a year in revenue. I joined on their high ticket sales team as a specialist. And then after a handful of months, I didn't have the same ethical and integral values with the company. So once you don't believe in a product or a company, you can't sell it. You just can't be in sales for something you don't believe in. And that's when I finally got up the gusto to start my own thing. I was like, well, I knew this good enough to get hired to this company. And now I've been here with 6 months of experience and all I did was assess digital businesses. So I got a lot of experience. Great foundation there for what I went on to do. And I just took a gamble on myself and said, I think I can get people the same results as these guys who are doing 20 million for a fraction of the price and a higher, quality in terms of person to person help. Right. And that's kind of what launched into my digital consultancy, which I'll give a quick recap. I'm the co-owner of 3 different brands. Our primary or our first brand to launch was called PDOCS. Stands for pains, desires, obstacles, common beliefs, steroids or attention grabbers in the market. First year in business, 21, we did 1.6 million cash collected and 2.3 million invoiced. So we way over expected our expectations for kind of our first real company. I knew we had something, but I didn't think it'd take off like that. And then what we did is we took our primary, let's say our first 15 super successful clients. That program was designed to take people from 5K to 50K, say in 90 days. Like that's what we did with our best clients. The 15 of them that hit that in the shortest time, we pulled them and like, hey, what do you need next? Because once you get to 50K, you have a lot different challenges than what this program got to, right? Yep. And what we realized is they were going to a lot more paid marketing. So we knew in 23, 24 and beyond, that space is going to be big dependent on data, right? Data is big in paid marketing. And if you're not using data, your big competition is, and they're crushing you. It's just the facts. And then they're building out sales teams. So me and one of my business partners, I'm a co-owner, there's 3 partners total. Me and one of my business partners have over 30 million in closed high ticket deals. We know how to sell. Our clients needed sales teams and they needed data. We built a company called Audience Lab, which is a data and tech SaaS platform that now is on track to hit 10 million in revenue this year. And we built out a company called the Sales Lab, where we do coaching, training, placement, done for you sales agencies, build outs for companies. So that's the short synopsis. And I don't know if it was short enough.
Man, I reckon we could probably do a whole hour on your story there. That's amazing. Thank you very much for sharing.
I tried to get it down there.
It's pretty hard, especially for us who like to talk a bit. So how do you define social selling in today's AI integrated digital landscape?
Well, I think with the AI integration into this aspect, I think there's still what stands out is that personal touch. It's still about people and relationships. No matter how much AI gets involved, social selling includes social because there's interaction, there's likability. To get somebody's, let's do anything, a cold DM, an email, to get an open, you got to grab attention, offer value. There's got to be an incentive. Because I know me personally, I probably open 5 to 10% of my emails. Honestly, I probably open maybe 10%. Now, if you get in my DMs, I probably open about 60%. If you get in my SMS and I probably open about 80%. So that just lets you know where you should focus as a business owner. What do you open more of yourself? That's the first thing, getting eyeballs on your stuff. But it all comes down to that initial message, how you're connecting. Is it warm? Is it cold? Different approaches. But I still think it comes down to people and relationships.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in teaching people how to really leverage the customer value journey, right? There's 7 stages there. We've got the awareness, the engagement, the community building stage, and then putting the right offer in front of the right people with your tripwire and so on, right? So just AI is just a tool, not a replacement, to help people on that customer journey. Hey.
Great point. Great point. And one thing I'd like to add to that I think not a lot of people notice, and I didn't really notice till I got more into building sales teams. I got this feedback when I was a rep because I'm a very relational rep. I'm not the hard close, take you down. I'm like, I build up the relationship, and if I offer value, I'll make you an offer. If not, no big deal. We part ways friends. I send you a free resource, whatever, right? But I started to realize customer journey, you should always focus on 100%. People don't focus as much on the prospect journey. When you can really stand out in the sales process, what I've noticed is people start thinking, damn, what would the service be if I actually paid them? Like I've done so many sales calls and built teams where the feedback from the prospect is, this didn't even feel like a sales call, man. This was great. You didn't even pitch me anything. Or I had to ask you for the price. Like, you know what I mean? They're like, this is so much different than what I get on strategy sessions, quote unquote, So I think the prospect journey is also a great way to stand out. Not everyone's focusing on customer journey if they're smart. I don't think a lot of people are focusing on that prospect journey.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like, and I naturally do that myself, but us who are sort of just wired with, focusing on the relationship and find those heart-to-heart connections, it's a skill that we've acquired, right? Every master was once a disaster. So what would be your top sort of strategies to help people hone that prospecting journey? Like for me, I love to use the acronym LORD, a location, occupation, recreation, and dreams, and then move into an acronym called GROW. What is your goals, your reality, your obstacles, your opportunity, and your way forward. So what do you use to help people in that conversation to really build that rapport, get people to know, like, and trust you, and find that heart-to-heart connection early on?
Sure. Let me answer that in 2 ways. First, I'll go with the acronym and the framework, and then I'll go with the implementation and the strategy behind it. But the acronym I like for outreach and anything like that in particular always boils down to ACEs. Number one, we're getting their attention. Doesn't matter if it's a post, an email, an ad, right? Something to get someone to raise their hand. And then you got to have that conversation where you're doing 2 things. You're pre-qualifying, but you're also financially pre-qualified. So number one, do you have the problem, or do you have the desire that I can, deliver? And number 2, I always, in the conversation, I do what's called a soft yes. If somebody says they have the problem and that, the last thing I'm doing before I go on to the the educating part is, hey man, if we have a discussion, I can solve this problem for you. Is there anything that might stop you from investing when we meet Friday? And that gets them, and I ask it that way very specific, because most people say, would you be willing to invest? And people just say yes, they don't think. But when you say, would there be anything that would stop you from, they're like, they'll start to tell you now before you even get to the sales call. My wife, my partner, finance, right? Cool. So can we get her on the call too? And that saves a lot of problems, right? So a few things happen when you're doing that. Then the educating, right? So you should have a whatever. I like to call it a program overview. Some people call it a VSL, but I think this is already in the sales process. I think the VSL is more in your ad or right from the ad when someone's a warm opt-in rather than a more messenger spot. Like I want to send them a program overview, which does 2 things as well. Educates and delivers the value, but also does a lot of the heavy lifting for the sales rep. So they go to the call educated about the offer. The sales rep doesn't have to spend all the time on the pitch and the deliverables. And imagine if you could start a sales call with, hey, Jeff, you go through that resource I sent over in between our last conversation? Yeah, Ray, I did. Cool. Let me ask you, any questions on that? Or what was your biggest takeaway? Well, I love the way you build out and they start talking about what they like about the product to start the sales call, right? And then you go to S, the actual sale. But I think with a lot of business owners, they try to go from A to S, and they don't really do that C and E very well. I got their attention. Let me pitch them. Send them my link, offer. Like that is spammy and scammy from a lot of people's perspective. And then I would say in terms of implementation, and I'd be happy to send you over a training I gave to some of my paid clients if you want to give it to your community. I just posted it so you could see everything I did. Obviously, I don't have time to run through the 10-minute tutorial, but the quick overview is how I just ran a small little outreach campaign, very targeted. I just used a certain competitor's ad or 2, targeted 30 people, shot friend requests, 25 of them, 22, 25 accepted, wait 2 to 3 days, and then my cold outreach. Everything is documented, and you see a screenshot of me sending a voice note, one coming back, another one, book appointment, like literally. from cold, 3 messages booked into my calendar. And I've been able to kind of do that with my framework, my skill set, and teach others how to do it. So I just documented that for some of my private students in my PDocs program maybe 10 days ago. When I was running a campaign for my sales lab, we had a master class. I told you about it. About a week ago, we ran a master class that we do once a year. So I didn't spend any money on it. I didn't do any email, nothing. I just did cold outreach on Facebook, very targeted, and got tons of attendees and booked calls and et cetera.
Wow, love that. It's so focused on the whole relationship, right? They're building that connection and just figuring out people's pain and then offering a solution to that pain, right? I love that. That's awesome.
So I think that's what you get into after. Well, one thing I want to make really clear with cold outreach, my first message, and this is what people always get hung up with or mess up because they're trained on. We've all seen this one, right? Hey, could I get you 10 to 15 extra high ticket appointments this month? Yeah, exactly. So that's number one. What I do is I keep it personal by a voice note on my first one. And what I've noticed after over 1,000 DMs in my companies is over a 16% more response rate. And more importantly, it's the morale of the response. I got a couple last week. I could even play a 20 or 30-second one for your audience right now. Their first message back.
Yeah,
Ray, that was so sweet. I've never got a message like that. Everyone's just trying to pitch you. This is so unique. Like when your first message, so what I say there, and again, I'll send you over the tutorial, but on my first message is just like, hey, Jeff, hey, we connected here on Facebook in the last, say, 2 to 3 business days. And unlike most people who send friend requests and remain strangers, I actually want to connect with everybody. So, hey, man, looking over your profile, looks like you're in the muscle calls and you work on muscle cars. I love that 71 Nova in your cover photo. Looks like you're also a sales director. I've been in sales for a while, and I always love to network with other outgoing people and people in the same profession. So I think Facebook might have recommended you in the algorithm when I know I targeted this person, but it comes off very organic, right? Hey, man. Anyway, I just wanted to get introduced. I always like to catch up with everybody by week's end. If you didn't catch my content or me catch yours, I saw a couple things. Looking forward to seeing your content. Would love to hear more about what you do. That's it. Nothing about me, what I do. And then people ask, how do you transition into talking about your stuff? You'd be surprised how their first message back, because you kept it all about them, is, hey, Ray, would love to know more about what you do. And now you have permission and no, like, antsy walking on eggshell. How do I make that it's just smooth? So that's a good overall starting strategy.
Yeah, no, I love that, because people really don't care about what you know until they know how much you care, right? And
that's a great one. I love that.
About leading with that, straight away, and standing out from the crowd and just saying, hey, look, I'm here to support you. But because people are always looking through that filter of what's in it for them, right?
So. Yeah, yep. And then it's also how to stand out. Like when I'm getting messages saying nobody is doing this, obviously that's when you kind of know you're onto something. It's always about market feedback too, whether it's sales process, prospecting. I am huge on that. I want to see, I dig into the psychology. Why did that person not respond? Why did they respond that way? And I start to notice the little intricacies. I'm like, okay, so I just mix that in a little more and it gets my open rates 10% higher, right? And little things,
That's actually the next question I was going to ask you, because I can gather that you're big on data, and as every marketer should be, because our numbers tell our story, right? So what metrics do you prioritize for measuring success in the AI social selling arena?
That's a tricky one. You're measuring different metrics and everything, like in selling, and everything kind of wraps back into social selling. But in selling, we all know the main metrics are close percentage, show up rates, qualified leads, and qualified actual appointments. So obviously those are basic, just sales ones. But when it comes more specific to like the AI social selling space in terms of metrics, it's just like you said, it's a constant. Yes, data. I mean, it's the same thing I'm talking about. I always call it a feedback and optimization. Like whatever I'm hearing, are you making the tweaks necessary, and are you recognizing the feedback coming back? And that doesn't change again, whether you're social selling, whether you're, person to person selling, whether you have AI integrated. Like you said, AI is a tool. If you just rely on that, you're going to be running the mill, and people are starting to realize AI content when they see it.
Sure. I can stand and see it out from a mile away when she's seen enough of it.
Yep. If you'd like, real quick, let me play a 28-second like this. I can show you on my screen. So there's one voice note from me, outreach campaign, and then one coming back 28 seconds. So this is the first message I've ever heard from this lady.
Thank you for reaching out. It's so nice to hear that someone actually wants to connect and have a chat. Normally, my inbox is just flooded with people sending me sales pitches, and so this is actually the first time that someone's actually messaged me and said, you know what, let's connect, let's get to know a little bit about each other. So yeah, I'm a copywriter. I've been a copywriter for about 2 years now. In the sales field also. How about you? Would love to get to know you.
Yeah. And obviously that's very targeted, copywriting and sales. Like that's You know what I mean? I send my friend requests very specific, but I don't even have to do anything. I use competitors' ads and content almost all the time. Like if I can find anything that's targeting the same audience or solving the same problem, and I think I can do it better, or my stuff complements whatever that same audience, I'm going to hit up everybody that commented interested and just transition the conversation. You know what I mean? So there's all kinds of little opportunities that people don't see.
Yeah, and that's because you're really clear on who you're serving, right? You understand their pain already, and you can almost predict the way that the conversation goes because of that experience and unfolding that. Yeah. So, basically, we here at the Laptop Lifestyle Dads, we teach everybody how to get the people out of Sucksville and get them to Awesome Town, and to understand how to do that, we need to understand their pain, their desires, and their journey really intimately, because questions are the answers. And by asking the powerful questions, you're going to get the right answers that you need to be able to, take people on that journey, right? So, cool, man. So, thank you very much for jumping on. I love to just quickly wrap up this this podcast interview with you. So, what are the top sort of 3 tips or strategies that you wish that you knew right now? Like before you started. Like, say, if you had to start all over again, what would be the top 3 things that you would implement right away?
So one thing that I know is really overlooked, and luckily I kind of grasped this kind of early, but people still aren't talking about it. And if I grasped it even earlier, it was the biggest change in everything is understanding prospect sophistication level and how to speak to them. If I'm speaking to somebody looking to go to 100K a month as opposed to hit their first 10K a month, I can't use the same messaging. It's night and day. So really knowing the prospect sophistication level really impacts your targeting, your messaging, every aspect. So that's the first thing I identify when I'm going into new market, new offer, even a new product that's a $50 a month product. What's the sophistication level of this person, right? That's going to craft my copy, my VSL, everything from there. So number one is really think about that. I think it's vastly overlooked. And I know in some high ticket programs that charge 10K, they are huge on this internally and they don't teach it. And there's a lot of programs that there's one thing they hold back, and that's kind of their secret thing, which really bothers me because I document everything and I show my clients, hey, this is working for us right now. This used to work a year ago. It's not right now because of this. So we switched to this, like what's working today. And a lot of those companies, I'm not knocking anybody because they teach good stuff, but a lot of it is 2 years ago. And like, sure, some of it still works, but 50% is dated or the market's sophisticated so much that that's not going to work. So, that's the biggest one. And what you just said about the questions are the answers, that's kind of our lead motto in Sales Lab. The number one thing I tell all the reps I work with and train is telling isn't selling, meaning I listen to so many call audits because running sales teams, like that's part of what you do to get the feedback and optimize. I got to hear the call. A rep can tell me what happened, but it's never the same as when I go back and listen to it, right? And I always hear, hey, Jeff, you need this program to get to 10K, right? Like, what if you could ask him the right question, say, damn, Ray, if I had this program, I could definitely get to 10K. Cool, Jeff, I totally agree. That being said, what's stopping us from moving forward, right? Like, how much different is that coming out of their mouth? Because prospects are going to believe what they say. What you say has some skepticism. You have an end result bias, right? You want to close a deal. So that's another big one. And one thing I've learned, whether it is in outreach or the sales process, is ethical. Just be ethical. Ethical sales is so much better. There's so much perception. And that's what a lot of sales is. People perceive sales reps, grimy used car salesman, going to sell me a lemon that's going to die 60 days down the road or whatever. You know what I mean? But salesmen can also change lives every day by 100%. Holding people accountable to making a decision that's going to come back and change their lives. And they're going to come back and thank that rep 30, 60, 90 days. Hey, Jeff, thanks for holding me accountable and really pushing me to invest in this. It changed my life, right? And that's the power you have.
Our posture here with us is like, if you actually don't give people the opportunity to at least say yes or no, you're robbing them of that decision, and it's an injustice. Because all we're doing is helping people solve their problems, getting them out of Sucksville and getting them to Awesome Town. If we don't give them the pathway to the less resistance to be able to do that, we've just stolen that from them. So that's an injustice, right? When people say you don't like sales, it's normally saying, I don't like manipulating people. And neither do I. I hate manipulating people. I'd rather inspire them, empower and equip them. So
yeah, there's a difference between manipulation and prescribing solutions that are going to help them. And just to add to that, and then you finish up, but I fully agree with you. Got to give them the opportunity. But one thing we do a lot differently than some sales teams and some companies is if we're not the best fit for to get them to their need. If I know somebody else, if a free resource, I won't even make them an offer. And that's the other thing. If they're not the ideal person to get results in your program, don't make a pitch. Be honest. People will respect you. And then when they are, usually when that's the case, they're just not quite ready yet, right? It's finances. It's maybe they need to get a little more whatever it is. But because you treated them so well when you are ready, they're going to reach out to you first. They're not going to go somewhere else. And people remember that
100%.
stuff. So that's another thing.
Yeah, lead with value, lead with being ethical, and just give. Because when you do ask for the take, you're asking from out of abundance rather than lack. Love that.
Yeah. But if you know you can help them, you're also not doing them a service if you're not trying to not manipulate, but convince that, hey, this can get them there. And when you get them to say it and they buy in, I mean, when you're selling anything, last thing on this, you're selling certainty always. People are like, what are you selling? And people are like, I sell digital marketing, I sell solar, I sell apples. What you're selling certainty. Like, I can deliver this result. It's certainty and efficacy. If they buy into that, the rest of the objections just fall like dominoes.
Yeah, and look, a confused mind will never take any action. So I believe we're selling clarity as well. Helping people. Yeah. So, final words of wisdom. If you could share with any of our Laptop Lifestyle Dads community, what would be some final words of wisdom that you could wrap up this call with?
It might be harsh to some people, but really think about if this is for you. Honestly, if it is, you can make it happen. If you're not going to go all in and put in as much or more work than you would in, say, your day job, and that's your goal, then don't do it. Because you and I probably both know, Jeff, from your experience, what you talked about, it's not for everybody, right? There's going to be some trial and error. There's going to be months with no revenue at the beginning. There's going to be things to overcome. So if you really want it, I mean, I could not believe in the last 4 years going from no businesses to the co-owner of 3. Like, I cannot believe. And it simply came from doing the right thing and delivering value with no expectation. All of our businesses are still super under the radar. Everyone knows the big gurus. And then they find us and they're like, oh my God, why didn't I find you guys first? And I kind of like being the underdog,
I love that, just to give value, not expect anything in return. That's always been our philosophy as well. And that's what we have.
Don't beat your own chest. Let your clients and your market tell about you. You don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Love it. So, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate you, Raymond, for jumping on this call, mate. Is there any sort of like gifts or anything that you want to give people? Like you mentioned there, a PDF.
Yeah, I'll send you over. I'm going to send you over a training about organic outreach. Oh, there was one simple point that I'd like to make, and it's in the training, but for anyone that just listens to this and doesn't go through it or doesn't get it or what have you, is the one mindset thing from a beginner or somebody that's not super confident yet, maybe not even a beginner, just not super confident in their product, their messaging, whatever, is the big misconception, in my opinion, and it's because it's done wrong, is everybody thinks cold outreach is grimy, spammy, underappreciated, or not appreciated, right? And when I show you the results and you see in here, when you do it the right way, it's actually like it comes back with thanks and gratitude. I had one say amazing. I had one say sweet message. I'm going to get back to you very soon. Like, just so when you're doing it the right way, and you're right, it does feel that way if it doesn't drive with you. So if you're taught something just because a business coach shows it to you, but it doesn't feel right, tweak it so it does.
Yeah. Don't be a spammy Tammy or a Spamler Anderson, what I like to call them. Be a little bit different.
I never even heard that one.
Cold reach, it works. It works very, very effectively if you just slow it down. Like your first goal should be building that connection and building that relationship first, right? And I found that if you could just slow it down and focus on that heart-to-heart connection, people respond a lot more positively, and because you've separated yourself out from all the other spammy tammies, and now you're actually being a genuine person and you're here to help. So love that. I love that.
This was a blast. Nice jamming with you, and I love what you're doing over there. And again, anytime somebody's like doing something new and looking to just deliver value to the market, I'm like, yeah, I'm all about it. Like, no hesitations here. I can carve out a half hour or what have you. And when you finish and you have this ready to upload or whatever, the video, send it over to me. I'll also upload it to my YouTube channel, and I'll spread your link and get people over to you if they like what they see as well.
It's early days. Like, we're planning to launch sort of around end of the month, beginning of May. At the moment, I'm just getting a few handful of podcast interviews to build up that base, build up that buffer. So we can get some scheduled out. So, hey, thank you very much for jumping on. Appreciate you. And we'll definitely let you know when this goes live.
Yeah, man. Let's stay in touch. Thanks for having me. And we'll talk soon.
All right, man. Leave you to your next call.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, thanks.
G'day, legends. Jeff Ross here, your caffeinated kangaroo from down under. Hey, and what a ripper episode we've just had with Raymond, the digital marketing and sales guru. We dove deep into the world of social selling and AI, and crikey, did we ever cover some gold with Raymond. Raymond shared his journey from corporate life to crushing it in the online space, building $1 million business faster than a kangaroo on a hot tin roof. The key takeaways from this episode: understand your prospect's sophistication level, make cold outreach feel warmer than a summer Barbie, and always lead with value. Hey, remember, questions are the answers, and telling isn't selling. So whether you're just starting out or you're already killing it, stay ethical, deliver value, and always be ready to adapt. It's not for the faint-hearted, but crikey, it's worth it. Stay caffeinated and stay legendary, and we'll catch you next time faster than you can say Crikey. Right. Thank you, guys. Now for some exciting news. Don't forget to grab our new book that just launched, Social Selling and AI Mastery for Network Marketers. It's jam-packed with actionable insights and success stories to help you to elevate your game. And whilst you're here, make sure you've joined our Facebook group, the Laptop Lifestyle Dads Legends, Social Selling and AI Mastery for Network and Affiliate Marketers. This is your go-to place to transform your approach to online business with cutting-edge strategies and practical tips. Whether you're just starting out or you're looking to up your game, this is for you. So why join? Well, it's simple. We're here to empower and equip you to achieve true freedom and success in your business. Learn how to balance the chaos of the mum-dad life while mastering social selling and AI. So go ahead, hit subscribe button. Don't miss any future episodes. If you've loved what you heard, leave us a review and share with your fellow legends. Let's grow our community together, stay caffeinated, stay inspired, and keep making memories. Cheers, legends, and we'll see you on the next episode.